Have you ever had a friend you'd trust with your life? A friend you've known since you were kids, shared every secret with, and planned your entire future alongside. For John Graham, that friend was Michael. Their bond was forged in the small town they grew up in, a place where everyone knew everyone, and dreams were the only thing bigger than the endless fields surrounding them. Their shared dream was a grand adventure, not just a trip, but a complete reinvention. They spent years saving every penny they earned from odd jobs, sketching out routes on old maps, and promising each other that one day they would leave their predictable lives behind and see the world. It was a pact, a sacred promise, and at the heart of this dream was Sarah. Sarah was the third member of their inseparable trio. She was the calm to their storm, the voice of reason, and for John, she was everything. He had been in love with her since the day she moved to town in the 3rd grade. His love for her was a quiet, steady current, running beneath every plan, every joke, every shared glance. The adventure wasn't just about seeing the world. It was about finally building a life with Sarah, away from the confines of their small town. He imagined proposing to her under the Parisian stars, their future as bright and limitless as the night sky. The money they were saving wasn't just for travel. It was the foundation of their new life together. The day they finally hit their savings goal felt like the start of their real lives. The excitement was electric. They celebrated that night, the three of them toasting to the future. John felt on top of the world. He had his best friend, the love of his life, and a one-way ticket to a new beginning just weeks away. He went to sleep that night with a smile on his face, dreaming of all the places they would go. He had no idea he was living the last perfect day of his life. The next morning, the world shattered. John woke up to find his room ransacked. The lockbox where they kept their shared savings, every dollar. Every dream was pried open and empty. Panic seized him. He called Michael, his voice trembling, but the call went straight to voicemail. He ran to Michael's house, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The house was empty. A note was left on the kitchen table. John's hands shook as he read it. It wasn't from Michael. It was from Sarah. The letter was short, brutal, and devoid of the warmth he had always known. She and Michael were gone. They had taken the money. They were starting their own adventure, one that didn't include him. The words blurred through his tears. Betrayal is a funny thing. It doesn't just break your heart, it poisons your memories. Suddenly, every shared laugh with Michael felt like a lie. Every tender moment with Sarah felt like a performance. The two people he trusted most in the world had conspired against him, stealing not just his money, but his entire future. The pain was a physical entity, a crushing weight in his chest that made it hard to breathe. He had lost everything in a single night: his best friend, the woman he loved, and the dream that had kept him going for years. The betrayal was so profound, so absolute, it felt like a crime had been committed against his very soul. He was left alone in the quiet town they were supposed to escape together, haunted by the ghosts of a future that would never be. Days turned into weeks, and the initial shock curdled into a cold, hard anger. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a robbery. They had stolen nearly $100,000 from him. His life's savings. Driven by a desperate need for justice, or maybe just revenge, John went to the police. He filed a report, detailing the theft, the broken promise, the devastating loss. An investigation was opened. Michael and Sarah were now fugitives, their faces on wanted posters, their crime documented in official records. The adventure they had planned had twisted into a manhunt. The investigation dragged on. Months bled into a year. John's life became a waiting game. He was trapped in a limbo of pain and rage. He couldn't move on, couldn't rebuild. Every corner of his town reminded him of them: the park where he and Sarah had their first date, the diner where he and Michael planned their escape. The pain was a constant companion, a dull ache that never subsided. He'd wake up from nightmares where he saw them laughing, spending his money, living the life that was supposed to be his. The crime wasn't just the theft of money. It was the theft of his peace, his ability to trust, his hope. Then, 2 years after they disappeared, he got the call. They had been found, not living a glamorous life in Europe, but in a grimy apartment, in a city a few states away. The money was long gone, spent on a fleeting fantasy. The reality of their new life was bleak, a far cry from the grand adventure they had stolen. When John saw them again, it was in a courtroom. Michael looked gaunt, a shadow of the confident friend he once knew. Sarah wouldn't meet his eyes. The vibrant girl he loved was gone, replaced by someone who looked tired and defeated. Seeing them like this didn't bring the satisfaction he thought it would. There was no triumphant feeling of justice, only a profound and hollow sadness. The legal process was swift. They confessed, were found guilty, and sentenced. But their conviction didn't heal John. The pain remained, a deep scar on his soul. He had gotten his justice, but it felt empty. The crime had been punished, but his stolen years and shattered trust were gone forever. He realized that the anger he had been clinging to was just a shield for the unbearable hurt underneath. The betrayal had left a wound so deep that no court ruling could ever close it. He was still the one left behind, picking up the pieces of a life they had detonated. Years passed. John never left his hometown. The dream of adventure died with the betrayal. He tried to build a new life, but the past was a long shadow he couldn't outrun. He found a steady job, bought a small house, but the joy felt muted. He never trusted anyone that completely again. The experience had taught him a brutal lesson about the fragility of love and friendship. One day, a letter arrived. The return address was a prison. It was from Michael. It was a long letter, filled with words John had once longed to hear. Michael wrote of his overwhelming regret, of the guilt that consumed him every day. He explained how a moment of weakness and a twisted idea of love had led him to commit the ultimate betrayal. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He said he knew he didn't deserve it. He just wanted John to know that he was sorry and that he thought about what he had destroyed every single day. John read the letter over and over. He felt a flicker of something. Not forgiveness, but a strange sort of peace. The regret in Michael's words was palpable, a mirror to the pain John had carried for so long. He finally understood that while he was living with the pain of being betrayed, they were living with the regret of being the betrayers. Their stolen adventure had become its own kind of prison long before they were ever behind bars. John folded the letter and put it away. He walked outside and looked up at the sky. For the first time in a long time, he didn't see the ghosts of his past. He saw the open road. The pain was still there, a part of his story now. But the regret was not his to carry. He had been the victim of a terrible crime, a heartbreaking betrayal, but he was a survivor. And maybe, just maybe, his own awaited adventure was still out there, waiting for him to begin again, on his own terms. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. It's a powerful reminder of how complex human relationships can be. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next one.